Hi my loves, you are welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Gloria and my YouTube channel is basically about self-development, my reality, my lifestyle and other fun stuffs. Okay, so today I am going to talk about important health screening tests that every woman should do at least twice in a year or once every 6 months. It is very important. Disclaimer: I am not a health practitioner. Okay, I do not have a degree in health or medicine or anything scientific, but I have realized that a lot of women are going through health issues that they are not really well educated about it, and I felt like enough education is not being put out there for people or women to know certain things that they have to be doing, like going on health screening and also checking whatever is going on in their body. So I just want to take it upon myself to share with you guys the little research that I did, and also I have a doctor friend who also encouraged that we do the same thing, and that is why I am bringing it out here, so all women will get to know this and will have to check their health. The reason why we are saying health screening is very important is because health screening can detect diseases when it is most treatable. In many cases, prevent serious health issues that can develop if a medical condition is left unchecked. Here are important health screening tests that all women should have at least twice in a year. Number one is the pap and human papilloma virus, which is also called the HPV test. So women should begin having pap tests at age 21 and should be repeated every 3 years. And then the human papilloma virus co-testing with pap should start at the age of 30 years and should be rescreened every 5 years. Here are 4 reasons every lady should have a pap test. So first, having your HPV test can easily detect abnormal cells, especially when there are no signs and symptoms. So it is very important to get a pap smear if you are older. I started having a pap smear, I think, when I was in school, and then 3 years later I went for a second one. That was after school. I went for another pap smear to check if my cells are really like normal, or if there are certain things that are going on in my body that I do not know of, and that was a good thing. So I advise that as you're getting older, you go do the pap smear to check yourself to see if there are any abnormal cells that could lead to cervical cancer or other cancers. Because if you're able to detect these abnormal cells, you have a higher or a greater chance of being cured. Having a pap smear can also detect changes in your cervical cells that could also suggest that cancer may develop in the future. So the second is the sexually transmitted diseases test. Not all, but some STDs are often symptomless, and which means that you can pass it to your partner, and if you're pregnant, you can also pass it to your unborn child if it is not being treated. Sexual health screening should begin as soon as you become sexually active. Testing will help you know if you have HIV or you have other STIs. Once you are tested and it's positive, you could also be treated. Also, testing can give you peace of mind because it is the only way you can be sure if you have been infected or you have an infection. Early testing for STIs can help you initiate necessary treatment, so you can never ever know if you are not being tested. And also, we assume that the fact that I am not having any symptoms means that I am not infected, which is wrong, because certain STIs are symptomless and you can mistakenly transfer or give to other people. You might want to regularly check for STIs. The third one is the diabetes screening. Diabetes screening should begin at age 35 and it should continue every 3 years. If you have no risk factor for diabetes, that is, if you have no family history about diabetes, you could start having the diabetes screening at age 35 going and repeat it every 3 years. But then if you have family history, overweight or obesity, high blood pressure or heart disease history, you should go for a regular screening. You don't have any age or any time frame to go, but you should always go to check your sugar level or your diabetes quite frequent. So these are the reasons why it is very important for you to go have diabetes screening. One, it can help you monitor the effect of diabetes medication on blood sugar level. It can also help detect if your sugar level is high or low. And also, it can also help detect early symptoms or early signs of diabetes or you being diabetic. So you want to check or you want to do the diabetes screening to know your sugar level and to know if you're being saved from having diabetes. And you cannot know until you've done the test. So let's move to the fourth health screening test that is very important to women. Mammogram is also known as breast cancer testing. I understand that most men thinks that it is only women that need to go do breast cancer testing. Unfortunately, nowadays men are also having breast cancer. So if you're a man and you're watching this, you also need to go have your breast cancer testing, not just women. The current recommendation for women is for you to get your breast cancer testing at the beginning of age 40, and that is if you do not have any family history about breast cancer. And you could also do the test on your own at home after you taking your shower. You could check for any lump or any abnormal, seed that might be in your breast. So you could actually test on your own, and then earlier or more mammogram will be recommended for women who have the history of breast cancer, like serious history of breast cancer in their homes or in their family. For many women, mammogram are the best way to detect breast cancer. It detects its earliest stage of breast cancer. Having mammogram can lower the risk of dying from breast cancer because it catches the cancer or the abnormal cell in the breast. It catches them like earlier. It is so easy to treat when it's being detected in that early stage. So what happens if you don't get a mammogram? So skipping mammogram raises a woman's odds for breast cancer death. Do not skip your annual mammogram screening. Every October, have this in mind that even if I am not going on screening like the whole year, for October, I should go check myself or I should go check my breast. And it is mostly done for free in the month of October. So you do not have any excuse for not doing the breast cancer test or screening. So do well to take advantage of this screening every year. So the fifth screening that is so important for all women is the PCOS. So the causes of PCOS is not well understood, but may involve a combination of genetic and environmental factors. With the PCOS, treatments can help, but there are no cure for PCOS. There are no single tests to specifically diagnose PCOS, but the health practitioners recommend that you go for pelvic examination. During this pelvic examination, your healthcare practitioner could detect or can check your reproductive organs for masses or growth or other changes in your pelvic area. Another way to check for the PCOS is you having blood tests, because the blood test can measure the hormone level. Also, you go for ultrasounds, because the ultrasounds can check for the appearance of your ovaries, the thickness of the lining of your uterus. You can do these tests to check if you have PCOS. These are the benefits of doing the test. Having a lab test will help measure the level of these hormones. It's where we have the follicle stimulating hormones, and this follicle stimulating hormones affects your ability to get pregnant. In women with PCOS, the hormonal imbalance interferes with the growth and the release of eggs from the ovaries. That's the ovulation. So you need to get diagnosed for this kind of disorder. You not being like, if you've not done all these things, you may not know, and maybe someday you want to have babies and you later realize that you have this kind of diseases. So it is very, very important you start testing. So the last test that every woman, this is very important, that is why it is the last. It is very important, and not just women, men should also know this. So the last is your genotype test. Yes, your genotype test. Having a genotype test helps you to determine your life partner compatibility to prevent adverse effects during conception. Also, knowing or having your genotype test can also help provide you with information on risk on developing cancer, and also helps identify a rare health condition in a child. So the best way to figure out your genotype is to get your genotype test done. I'm going to enlighten you more about this particular test. So typically there are 5 types of blood genotypes. There are the AA, we have the AS, we have the AC, we have the SS, and we have the SC. So the AC and the SC are very rare and uncommon constituents on the red blood cells. We all have the specific pair of this hemoglobin in our blood cells, which we inherited from our parents. So now, why is it important to know your genotype? Knowing your genotype before choosing your life partner is very important because there may be compatibility issues which could have devastating effects when it comes to conceptions. Meaning, when it's time for you guys to have kids, or if you guys want to have kids, there might be compatibility issues. This could result to a very, very big and devastating effect. Let's say you found someone you love, you really, really love, and you would like to get married to this person. If you would like to have kids with them in the future, then it is very important you both should know your genotype, so you could know if you guys are really compatible. I'll give you an example. If you check your genotype and you come out to be AA, meaning that you can marry anybody. You can marry AS, someone who is AS. You can marry someone who is SS. You can marry someone who is SC. And you can marry someone who is AC. So you are okay. You are versatile. You are compatible with any of these people. So you can go ahead and marry them. This is a very good or the best compatibility. So that way you won't have any devastating effect on your kids. So now, let's say you also went to the hospital and you are AS. So AS, you are being restricted or you are being limited to the kind of person you can marry or someone you can be compatible with. So with AS, you can only marry AA. That is if you want kids in the near future, the only person you can marry is someone with AA. AS and AS are not compatible because this could have a devastating effect on your kids and you might end up regretting in the future. If you are SS, if you are AC, if you are SC, it is only advisable you go for someone who is AA. But if you found someone you love or you want to spend the rest of your life with and you don't want to have kids, you don't care about kids, you're okay adopting, then you're good to go being with these other people with the same sickle cell, because these cells are the sickle cells, and this would create effect on your kids, leaving them in pain and suffering, where their oxygen flows will be compromised due to blockage in their blood vessels. Do you want this for your kids? Like, do you want your kids to go through this pain and suffer? And that is when they tend to have sickle cells anemia diseases. And it is really heartbreaking to see or watch people actually die due to these diseases, and also due to the mistakes that our parents did for not checking their genotype before they got married, or before they started having kids, and now the kids will have to suffer, and you also, the parents, will suffer from it, money wise, financial wise. You have to suffer for it, because definitely you have to be paying hospital bills to make sure you keep them alive. And also your time, you are going to devote a lot of time to take care of these kids. At the end of the day, you're going to be exhausted, and it's not a good thing to witness at all. Now let's talk about the blood group. There are 4 blood groups. A, we have the B, we have the AB, and we have the O. So there is an additional marker in the blood which is called the rhesus factor. This rhesus factor is simply a protein that may be present on the surface of the red blood cell. Okay, so some people have this rhesus factor and others do not have this rhesus factor. So if you have this rhesus factor, the protein in your red blood cell, your blood type is further classified as positive. And if you don't have this blood type, it is further classified as the negative. So it is just a genetic difference. So if you're among the blood groups that has the O and you have the protein called the rhesus factor, you are classified as O positive. If you do not have the rhesus factor, you are classified as O negative, which is the common type of blood group. If you are type AB, and if you have the rhesus factor, you are AB positive, and if you do not have the rhesus factor, you are AB negative. In this case, I have the rhesus factor, so I am AB positive. Yes, I know my blood group. I am AB positive. So now, why is it important for me to know all this? So 1, it is very important for you to know your blood group if you need blood transfusion or if you want to donate blood. So I remember that there was a time where during school days, I wanted to donate blood, and I got there, I did the test, I was ready to, donate blood, and I was told that I can't donate blood. I almost got mad, because I also realized that when you donate blood, you're being given a special gift. Either you're given malt and milk, or maybe cash. So I wanted the cash, or I wanted the malt and milk. I was young, and they said I can't give blood. I was really, really angry, because I didn't understand why. So if you're AB positive, please do not make an attempt to donate blood to anyone. If you want to donate blood, it must be established that the donor blood type is compatible with the recipient's blood type. My blood group, I can actually receive blood from any of these blood groups. Basically, we call us the selfish people. We don't give, but we receive. So kindly do this research, go have a test, and know what kind of blood group you fall into, and know if you can donate blood or receive blood. The reason why you need to know this is because the combination of certain antibodies can be harmful and even lead to total symptoms if the antibiotics perceive foreign cells as a threat. It is basically our immune system way of protecting us. So I believe that you've watched this and you've learned something today. If you have more information to share with people also, I'll be glad that you drop it in the comment section, so I also learn from you as you have also learned from me today. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, do not forget to like, and do not forget to share. Okay, see you in my next video, guys. Bye.